Hello, everyone. Welcome to our 17th episode of the Flowers and Friends talk show. I can't believe we have been doing this for 17 episodes now. Welcome, everyone. I am Kara Jameson. I am one of the co-hosts of this talk show. I'm a cut flower grower and educator, and I'm always learning something new on this talk show. Anna?
It's so exciting to be here. We've been here 4 months. Wow, that is amazing. I'm Ana Galena, and I'm a floral designer promoting the joy of living with flowers. We're so happy that all of you are connecting. Hi, everyone. And we have the talented Dion over here.
Thank you, ladies. It's good to see you on this Friday. This is kind of like a tradition. I don't know that this possibly could ever stop. You know that, right? You're part of my Friday routine.
Right.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. I'm Dion Woods, owner and artist at the Turquoise Iris, and I love to come on here with you guys every single Friday and talk about flowers and friends and our families. And sometimes I'm painting, sometimes I'm not, but I want to do a quick little reminder because I think over the last 17 weeks, we've picked up quite a few new followers who are curious about what Bloom TV is. So if you will, after this show, go straight into Bloom TV Network, pop up the screen, and what you're going to find is a whole library of fun videos. There's some tutorials all about the beauty of flowers and how you can incorporate them into your daily life. Right, ladies?
Yes, there you are on the screen. You can see what Bloom TV will look like, and you're going to love it. I guarantee you, we have so many talented creatives.
I learn something every time I have a guest. But what happens is I end up going down their Instagram and I start watching their videos and finding out everything. So before we dive into who our guest is today, let's run our intro video and do my favorite dance. I have always wanted a theme song. Like, that's a big goal. I don't know how you get one of those, but I love being a part of Bloom TV because that's the first time I've had a theme song. So I absolutely love that.
Yes. I want to say we've got a lot of people have joined us over here in the comments. I see we have Donna. Hello. Dawson, Renato, Jenny. Hey, Jenny. Yoselin. Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome. Thanks for being here with us today. So, guys, last week we had a lot of fun learning how to press flowers from Miss Gloria. What did you guys think?
I think the best part for all of us and most of the viewers was learning that wax paper is not a good option.
Yes, right. Yes.
You're welcome. I'm glad I could be there for you on that because I was like, oh, I am so fancy. I actually pulled out wax paper out of my drawer. Didn't even know it was here. And she goes, that's the worst thing that you could use. I was like, I mean, she didn't say it like mean, but she answers that question a lot because ladies, I think I had it and I will be honest with you. I left the flowers pressed for a couple of days in my studio. And I thought, I'm going to leave them. And I still, because I'd never pressed, especially I had hibiscus. I'd never pressed that before. And what I learned was you can put flowers in the microwave.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that was a thing. I also I'm obsessed with the way Gloria does her flowers incorporated with her artwork. But I pulled those plates apart the other day.
Oh, oh no. Did it mold? Did it stink?
All of it. You name it. I was terrible at it. And so what I realized, ladies, is, Kara, I know that you did a little thing with your daughter. Did you guys did you go back at it this week? Did you have time to try it again?
No, we had no time this week. We started school full time this week, so I have not tried it again. But, I just know now when I did this little exercise with my kids, we went out in my gardens. I was like, find every color of the rainbow. It's pretty easy to do at my farm. And we took them back inside and we pressed them. But the mistake that I did was I would use like a big zinnia head and then put like a tiny Cosmo right next to it and try to press those on the same paper. That's a no-no. They need to be like the same sizes, I'm finding.
Okay.
Because the zinnia is obviously going to have more moisture. And so
Okay.
I ended up with a lot of mold on my
One of the things I like the most about the show and our guest is that, I mean, when we see their videos, it looks very easy. And that's the same as when Carrie's doing her garden, when Dion is painting, when I'm doing flower arrangements. And what are we always telling everyone? Practice. And the same is happening to us. I mean, not because it doesn't work the first time, it's like, give up. I'm not good at this. So I mean, because I really want to see that ballerina you're going to make with the hibiscus, Dion. I'm looking for that dancer. I want to see it finish. So you need to keep practicing, and I will keep practicing. I have some hydrangeas being pressed right now. I will show them next week.
I'm really good at dried flowers. I can do that. But pressing flowers, I have a little harder time with.
Well, you know, we had Holly on here and she was talking about drying flowers, and I realized I learned a lot there too. And that's the thing. I underestimated how much I was going to learn from Bloom TV because I thought I know so much about flowers.
Right.
I know.
That's a big mistake. I mean, I do, but I'm learning a lot. So,
and there are so many fun projects out there. I mean, that's what's so exciting. There are so many fun projects we can do. Every week it's a totally new thing, and it's like, wow, amazing.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of today, like I learned, I went down the rabbit hole again of our guest's Instagram, and I went, no way. This is how she does this?
Right.
Carol,
all right, we have Miss Kristy Belk from Shefollowsflowers today. Let's bring her on and say hello.
Hi, Kristy.
Hi.
It's great to have you here.
Thank you for having me on.
Wow. Hey, I wish I was sitting right beside you right now and we could pop open that bottle of champagne. That looks so good. Yay. So
I think it's probably somewhere, right?
Right. Yeah. We have Kristy Belk on today. Her Instagram handle is Shefollowsflowers, and she also is a flower and lifestyle blogger at Shefollowsflowers.com. And she is here today to show us how to make, what are you going to tell us how to make, Kristy?
I am going to show you how to make an ice bucket, which is probably my most requested project that I do. And after constantly trying to type it out in messages, I was like, I just need to film a video, which I did for Bloom TV.
Yes.
Creating a kind of visual. They're really easy to do. I think people think they're going to be more difficult than they are. So I love making them. And I think one of the coolest thing about them, you guys all talked about your love of flowers and however it connects, is you kind of preserve a flower a little bit longer. So if I have a bloom that I'm attached to that I either feel sentimental or it's a really beautiful bloom in the garden, freezing it lets you use it again in another event. So it just kind of prolongs it. So it's got a practical nature to it too if you get overly attached to your flowers like I do.
Ooh, I love that. I love that.
Well, that's the thing that I meant, Kristy. You show how to do things, and I'm curious about your process. I know this is going to be like a prequel to your video on Bloom TV. I do want to answer this quick question, guys, not to get off topic, but I thought this would be a really good way for us to. This question over here says, how do you avoid mold in your flowers? And I just want to answer that without it going by. If you will go to Gloria Demita on Bloom TV and also on social media, I want you to know that she's talked about having courses, and she's going to have videos coming up on Bloom TV. So it's Gloria Demita, just to answer that viewer who's listening with us. So if you guys have questions or comments, please drop those in there. And also tag your friends, because we want everybody to see how our girl Kristy here creates these ice buckets. So are you going to end up doing some of that for us today? Do you have one already that you can tell us about?
Yeah, so I'll show you. We'll actually make one together today. And then this was one I just put in last night. I did so can you see that?
Yes.
So they are so easy. It's just whatever flowers you have on hand, you just can put them in. So I'll show you today. There's nothing to to be intimidated by. I have been doing them for so long. And so if you have seen my Instagram account, I do a new one every month. And I don't just do flowers, I will do fruit. I'm a master gardener. So in addition to all the flowers in the yard, I have fruit, and they're also seasonal. And so I end up popping them in ice.
Oh, wow.
In Arizona. So I have frozen cactus and cactus flowers too. So they're really, really easy. So I hope if you watch this today, it inspires you to do one. And it doesn't even have to be a special occasion. If you can fit an ice cream container that's about this size in your freezer, you can make one and you can have it for tomorrow. So you can do it tonight, whatever you have in your yard, and pop it in the freezer and enjoy one tomorrow with friends or family.
Okay, I'm going to challenge all of us, and mostly for myself. But Kristi, you make it sound really easy, and I think because I couldn't get my pressed hibiscus, I'm gonna freeze it. Can I freeze them and do an ice bucket?
Yeah, I have done hibiscus. I love doing hibiscus, and they're so colorful. So yes, and that's like a good like kind of tropical theme. And then you should make like a pina colada or something. See, I like kind of piecing all that together.
That's a great thing. Okay, so I'm going to challenge myself, and maybe the girls will be able to. Maybe on Friday we can show off our ice buckets, ladies, if we're feeling.
And before you go into the details of how you make them, I have a question. You were talking about prolonging the life of your flowers. If I have a flower arrangement that it's starting to wilt, but that hasn't wilted, can I use those flowers?
Yes, those are actually the perfect stage to do them because they've gotten soft and kind of pliable. And so they're actually, to me, the easiest to mold and open in the water. And so you really do prolong them, because I can't do that with a fresh flower. Like then that would like break my heart, right? I get attached to my flowers, you know, on the counter, and you're like, oh no, like you can just see that they're still open. You know, we can tell when our flowers are slowly kind of dropping. That's the perfect phase. They're super pliable. They're easy to move around. Sometimes when like a bloom is closed, like a fresh rose, it's really hard to pry all those petals open.
Right.
So yes, you can with kind of aging flowers, and then they get to have another showcase.
I love this.
Yeah.
All right. So take us through the process. What do I need? How do I start?
Yeah. Okay. So I have made ice buckets in so many different shapes. Today, I'm going to show you, this is really inexpensive and easy to get. So from a local hardware store, this is just a 2.5 quart paint bucket. So they have these at Home Depot as well. And then also a plastic, is it a quarter of pint? I'm always bad with my metrics. Quart. So then a quart paint container. And what's really important if you're using this is make sure you get a lid. Okay, so that's what we're going to do today. But if you're making them, you really can do them with any container. The only thing you need to be mindful of is whatever you're going to use for your center, you know, container that you're going to have that void where your bottle goes. It has to be larger than a bottle. So, you know, you may see something, put it in there, and then you try to, like a champagne bottle is a little fatter at the base than like a wine bottle, right? Or like a Chardonnay is a little fattier than a Pinot Grigio. You tell I like wine. So, you know, so you kind of have
That's a great tip, Kristi. Thank you.
So
That's a great tip.
Yeah. So your container just has to be large enough to fit the bottle in it. Otherwise, you can use any shape. And I have, like on a whim, used very random objects to put them in and just create that opening. So, but these are, I think this is like $3 and $3. So you can get these molds, you know, for under $10. And then I don't think I said, make sure you get the lid for that inner container because the water can float it. If you don't, it's fine. But then water, when it gets frozen on the inside, then you have to defrost the inside too. It's a lot easier if you just get the 99.
Okay, good to know.
So
Get the lid.
Okay, so I'm going to move this. I put this one for display purposes, but I think I need a little space for my elbows and whatnot. So I'm going to put that down.
Great.
We'll get started. Okay, so, and I'm going to actually adjust this down. I don't feel like you guys can see my whole container. That might be a little bit better. Okay, so we talked about what we need. So first you're going to take your center container. Mine is filled with rocks. That's the other thing. You do need to be weighted down. Sand, pebbles, rocks, whatever you want, but it just have to be, you know, have that density to sit down so that it will stay in the middle of your mold. You can actually, I should say this too, you can, Crate and Barrel now sells a pre-formed ice mold that you can buy if that is easier. I think it's under $40. So you can get that one too. The thing I don't like about that one as much, not only is it 4 times more expensive, but it's got a stationary centerpiece, so you can't move it around. The thing I like about using this, if I have something fat, like I've done cactus and other things, this kind of lets me adjust it so that I can really form it to the flowers and what I have in there. If that makes sense.
Okay.
Okay, so today I live in Arizona and I have like next to nothing in bloom because it's 114. Normally I'm filling up my garden. So I've been freezing cactus this month, but we're just going to do just some flowers. I just got an arrangement from just the grocery store.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I love using roses because there's so many petals. So we'll start with some of these and I'll place them in, and then you guys can ask me some questions, as we go.
I'm curious about the width. So I don't want it to be too thin. Like you have to make sure your ice bucket is pretty thick, Kristy. So I'm looking at there, and I know you have the 1 quart in the 2.5 quart. So is that about an inch deep?
Yeah.
Your
Yes, it's about an inch. And in, most weather, that's going to last you several hours, especially if it's indoors. It's probably one of the most common questions I get on my Instagram is how long is this going to last? And I can't answer that because I don't know where it's going to be, what the outside environment is, all of it is temperature, it's ice, right? So what the rate that ice is going to melt is going to depend a lot on where you are. In Phoenix, it's going to melt really fast. So that kind of speaks to what I said earlier in using different containers. You can use a much larger container and get a thicker, block of ice. So to the question that you were asking me, like, yeah, this is about an inch, but if you're worried that that's not thick enough, you just need to use a larger container where you've got like a thicker layer of ice. Does that make sense?
Okay.
I know, like,
it makes perfect sense. I just was thinking about me and myself probably breaking it. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, no, and we'll talk about that at the end and how you get it out. You won't break it, but there is tips to getting it out so your ice doesn't break. So
brilliant. Thank you, Kristy.
Yeah. Okay, so I just did a little snip off of the rose, and so the first thing is when you're cutting it, I'm gonna put this closer. I'm leaving a little bit of stem behind there, so you're gonna end up cutting it to fit it in, but always have a little more stem than you think you need, because this is the part that's gonna kind of position itself between your inner wall and the outside of the ice container. So if you cut it too short, it's just gonna keep floating back up, right? Like
all right.
Wedge.
It's like a stopper. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And so if you accidentally cut them too short, which I've done, then you can just cut another piece of stem and use something to kind of wedge it in place. But it's easier to just start with a little more stem than you need and then cut from there. So
great tip.
You could do the rose like this. So my first ice bucket, I think my rose looked like this, and I was over the moon. Like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever made. Like, oh my gosh. And then now that I've been making them all the time, now I'm getting them open. My petals are all beautiful. So I think, first of all, it speaks to there is no wrong way. Even if you have like a smushed flower, seeing it frozen in ice is just so cool. Like, there is no wrong way to do it. It's gonna be great.
I'm sure.
Because I've made a bazillion of them, I'm just now kind of getting a little more technique oriented. So I'll show you, some of the things. So I think the flowers look the prettiest when the center is exposed. And so, Anna, to your point, when they're older, you find it easier and easier to open these petals up, right? Like when you've got a tight bud, that's really hard to do without tearing your petals. So I'm just gonna slowly tease open my flower.
Oh, wow.
Right? I know.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, it's like my spider matrix here. Okay, so now I've got that center exposed, right?
Okay.
So I'm gonna slide it down. So all buckets, even paint buckets, right, go a little narrower to fatter, and I want it to go a little bit farther down on my bucket. Do you guys need me to go down? You can't see my whole bucket, can you?
No.
Okay,
Let me tilt. If you can tilt a little bit more, there we can.
Perfect.
Now, why do you want your rose to go down further to the bottom? Because it's a bigger flower?
You don't have to, but I just know about the size, right? That I'm going to have to. So what I'm talking about is how thick I'm going to need that stem back there, just knowing that it's going to get narrower as it goes down. So again, better to leave more stem than not enough. So I'm just going to slide her in here. So look at that. Isn't she beautiful? Okay, so but you can tell like she's a little smushy, like a bit. So we're gonna do the petal corrections after. Okay, I sound like a petal corrections. We're gonna fix that after the water is in there because you can see better. It's gonna magnify it, once the water is up against the bucket. So I'll do that next. Don't try to adjust your petals right now while it's dry, because you also will probably tear the petals when the water's in there. They just kind of do a little water dance and they move with you. The easier do it when there's water in there. Okay, and so then I always think they look better with green, and so I'm gonna just put some leaves. This is shrub from my backyard. I still don't know the name. I've asked like 3 landscapers, and I'm a master gardener, and nobody knows what this is. It's not an herb, but whatever it is, I like putting it.
It's Kristy's shrub. That's what it is. It is Kristy's shrub.
So, again, any greenery can go behind it. You can do parsley, but I think just like flowers in your bed, having that green contrast makes it so fresh, and you're going to see it more when it's in there. But you can just put like a daisy or drop something in. But I find when there's greenery behind it, it really makes the flower pop, just like it would in an arrangement, right? When you do an arrangement, like greenery in there too. So, I've done citrus. I do whatever I can find on my property just to pop it in there, or even from the arrangement itself. So okay, so now we have our rose, and then I got this interesting kind of bouquet of flowers. So there's these Canterbury Bells. I think
it looks more elegant when you're adding those large green stems, like the leaves. I think it makes it more elegant, because I think it kind of goes, it could be whimsical if you do like simple little daisies, and then it's just whatever your design aesthetic is that you're trying to create, right?
Yeah.
I have a question. Would daisies get lost in the ice because they're white, and ice can be kind of white?
Oh, that's a good question, because I might have forgotten to say this. So thank you for asking me that question. The daisies don't, but white is the only color I have found that does not freeze well. It browns in the water. And so most of them too, if you have like a special event where you're trying to color coordinate, like, with weddings or things, you've got your color themes, most of the flowers will change color in the ice. So like your red turns like a burgundy red, your yellow turns a little more shade of an orange, right? Like it is changing in that freezing process. So if you really are trying to match something, you should probably experiment with what, just even put it in an ice cube and see what happens when it freezes. But white, unfortunately, and I say unfortunately because there's so many white flowers I love so much, and I think that would be such a clean aesthetic too. It always browns, and not only when it first freezes. I took that ice bucket down, but as it melts, your flower starts to become exposed inside the ice. The petals are as the ice melts away, and then it really browns. And so, you don't want to do one that people are looking at and being like, ew, like look at my dead daisies. I'm glad you asked me though. It's not the white color. It's more, I think that it starts to die and then the process. And the other thing is, if you want your flower to be more visible, one of the reasons the rose works so well is they're thick and there's so many petals. Some of the flowers, like even like for a daisy, if you've got a strong center, or like if you think of like that flower, the black-eyed Susan, that has that little queen, I can't remember the clinical term for the inside, but it raises up. Your petals aren't going to be close to the ice. So the closer the petals are to the ice, the more pronounced everything's going to be. So that makes sense. So
totally.
So I'm going to just we'll just do a rose theme. I do roses a lot because again, their petals are so pretty, and then we'll do more accents. So again, this one was already kind of open. But
I love this. And I want you to know that our viewers are really loving this. You're making them very excited to try this themselves. They said this looks so fun. Your Instagram is eye candy, my friend. And
thank you.
I think you're going to have a lot of ice buckets being made this week.
And if you do, please send me tags, because one of my favorite things is when people send them to me. It makes me so happy. I mean, I think that's what you try to do, is inspire other, people. I think that social media can be toxic sometimes, and I love it when it can be creative. Like if you can use it for a creative outlet and inspiration, and I think that's why we all got on it to begin with. So I get so excited when people send me pictures of their ice buckets, and they're always pretty.
That's excellent. You guys, be sure you tag her. If you do, Pam Dudley, my friend, just said she's following you right now with it, trying to do it with you.
Tag
her on Instagram.
Yeah, for sure. I'd love to see how it turns out. So, okay, so this one was a little more open. Same thing again. Cut the stem. I'm going to push him in there. So this one is a little tighter. Still getting this straight, and that's fine, because again, I'm going to go in and adjust my petals. Like this is what my first one looked like. It was like, woo, like Han Solo. But
I can't wait. I can't wait to do that with a rose. I've never done that because I always felt like I would be harming them. But this, since it's the final stage and it's for a good cause, that looks so fun. To like that.
I'm the
You're
same.
definitely not harming them. And, you know, like, again, they were going to be disposed of unless you were going to save the petals, which,
Exactly.
Right.
you know, there's only so many times you can throw like rose petals down an aisle or on a flower bed. Like, what else are you going to do with your petals? You know,
Right.
I don't know. So that might be another episode. What to do, how to recycle your dying flowers. So.
You know what my thought is? My chickens would love an ice bucket with treats and flowers.
Yes, I was
What?
Yeah.
10 years I was a chicken owner. My original chicken, Luke Skywalker, just passed away, and then I retired from being a chicken owner. But the chickens love the ice. Do you do that anyway, Kara? I live in Arizona, so we have to find ways to cool the chickens down, and we freeze treats and ice blocks a lot and give it to them. Yeah.
No, I can say I've never frozen treats for them, but we give them other treats. Like we grow sunflower fields and corn fields to save the seed for them. We'll give them treats like that, but I haven't ever froze anything.
Yeah.
So I don't want to.
Yeah, I mean, it helps cool them down because they have to, like, you know, peck through the ice to get to. Okay, so now
that's awesome.
I've gotten all three sides. So if you get to one was fat, and then I saw that this side was pressing really close, so I just then positioned another flower. So I've got it where no matter where we're looking, there's going to be, you know, something beautiful to look at on the table all the way around. But also because there's a flower pretty much in all of the sides, it's keeping this centered really well in the middle, right? So we have about the same amount of thickness.
Okay.
There have been times with my cactus where, because the prickly pads are so big, I've had it really thin on the other side. And the only problem with that is it melts faster, right, on the thinner side. So I ended up the first time where I had my ice bucket kind of sort of break open. So
yeah, I would worry that would happen. So let me ask you, is the rose, Kristy, your favorite flower to use for ice buckets? Or
that's so hard. You're like asking me to pick my favorite child.
Right?
I'm sorry. I just
no. I think that is, it's hard because I do love all the flowers and I use them all seasonally. I probably do roses the most because they're so abundant in the garden. If you have a rose bush, I have like floribundas that constantly repeat bloom. So they're always available, other than in July and August in Arizona. But you know, they're most readily available. But the other thing I like about them, as I said, is the petal count. There's so many petals, they really do look pretty. So I probably do roses the most for like a quick last minute. But I even had some where, you know, I didn't have many blooms on hand, and I took like a giant palm leaf and just had the palm leaf, and that was it. And that was in a minimal way. I mean, that was just. So I think if you like just look around your property, you can freeze. Even the green has such a fresh look. But so,
I love it. Thank you.
I stepped around my favorite. I can't answer it. So did I answer that? Like
okay, fine.
Just like
fine.
No favorites. Okay, so now we put these in here. We're gonna add water, and then if I want to add more flowers, I can in the end. So this is tap water. You can use distilled water. It probably gives you a little more clarity when you use the distilled water, but the clarity has never affected the flowers for me because they're so close to, you know, the edge of the container that I can see the flowers very clearly. It's more the ice around it will either be cloudy or really clear. I kind of like the cloudy. Sometimes when I've done distilled, then you can see the bottle or the label of the bottle in there. I don't like that as much. I kind of, so it's just preference. Like I kind of like it having that milky ice look with the flowers popping out, but you can definitely get distilled. You can definitely use hard Arizona tap water. We're not famous for our drinking water. So, but I still use it. So again,
okay, you're just pouring it over the top and you're just watching.
Or you can, you know, or you can just take it to your sink too, right? But I'm doing this on the patio table, so.
So you don't boil the water. You just put it in room temperature. Is that right?
Yeah, just room temperature. And I have boiled the water before to see if I could get, you know, and I'm getting the water at the top so it doesn't freeze on the container, so I can pull it out.
Why would you boil it?
For clarity. A lot of people say, like, have you ever seen those like beautiful clear ice cubes that they have in like the bartender ads? Like they're just like that. So they say if you double boil them, you boil the impurities out. I mean, I could have an unofficial degree in ice at this point. I have experimented so much. I have frozen these inside of styrofoam containers because the slower you make the ice, the slower it freezes. You know, that pushes impurities to the bottom. I have experimented in so many ways. But I think that the distilled water is probably even better than the boiled water, Kara, if you are looking clarity.
Okay.
You boil it, then you have to let it, like kind of cool down again, and you're actually supposed to double boil it. And I don't know, I think it's supposed to evaporate and the sediment's supposed to go to the bottom. But again, I will go on record and safely say I've made more ice buckets than probably anybody in the world. The Guinness Book for it. No one's competing with me on this one. So I just don't find. So I think it's up to you. If you really want it clear, try. You can get a bottle of distilled water for like $1.89 at the grocery store, right? Like one of those gallons. But I don't think boiling makes enough of a difference for the effort.
Yeah, I tried it with the ice, the flour ice, and it didn't work. Maybe because I only boiled it once and not twice. And
well, okay, so here's what I have learned after, again, I told you I really could have a degree in this. It's actually the clearer water is more due to how slowly the ice melts. I mean, ice freezes. So the slower that it takes for it to form ice, that's the impurities keep going farther and farther down to the bottom. So a lot of those really fancy ice they do distilled and purified, but they have these machines that like they're in a really low temperature to freeze, like where it wouldn't really be good for your meat to do that if you're doing it in your freezer. Like you have to slowly freeze it. So that creates clarity because it allows all those impurities. And then I worked with somebody who has these they sell these ice things for clear ice, and I did a little promotion with them, and it was sold inside a little tiny almost like a baby igloo, and then it had space underneath the mold with a hole where the impurities could drip underneath. So when you're pulling the cube out, the impurities are frozen below it. It's really like a science. I'm sure there's like a 4-year degree for it.
Will you show us? Yeah, will you show us your ice bucket again that you had sitting on the table for those because we have a lot of people just popping on. Can you show us what it looks like when it's finished?
Yeah. Do you want me to right now? You want me to pull it up really quick before we finish this, or I'll just
whatever works.
Okay.
And someone just wrote so much science behind ice. Who knew?
Behind everything, right? Like,
so I just want you to see how beautiful this is that she's making right now. Everybody that's just popping on. I mean, obviously it's starting to melt and everything, but look at that yellow flower. So that is the end goal of where she's going with this and showing us how easy this can be. Yeah. So pretty, Kristy.
I know. So I'm looking. So I brought it. I mean, this has been outside in Arizona for an hour, and it's hot here, right? Like, very hot. So you can see still within an hour, it's still doing really well, and we're extremely hot. So in the I do it a lot when I'm entertaining outside, and it for sure will go through the whole night, or during the holidays where we've had like a like a little fire outside and we're sitting there. The fire kind of sped up the melting for obvious reasons.
Right, yeah. I'm sure.
With cranberries, I have to tell you stories. I did this one with cranberries. It was very, winter and holiday looking. And then these berries just kept popping out and rolling over. That wasn't a good one. But it was only because I had a melting really fast, but they were just like, it was like some little marble game or something.
That's a good one.
I love it.
Well, okay. So now we've got, I'm going to show you, here's a super smushed one. So you see this right here.
Yeah.
So here is the kind of the technique. So you just get like a wooden skewer, and don't use this pointy end because you could tear your flowers. You're going to use just the blunt end, right? So you can use any stick, but these are easy to get. And then I'm going to have to turn this towards me. Slowly go in, and then you just tease your petals open. Okay, I'm in the right position. Right to show you. Let's see if you can see that. So you're just sort of, do you see how I'm kind of opening
you're just
it to the
pressing them kind of open a little bit without damaging the petals.
Right. And so then as I look at it, I'm creating more of that open flower. Like anywhere it's smushed, it's just going to, and you can, position it up and down. But I'm just going to be opening up that center. Let me see. Here, I'll get in front of it, and then I'll put it in front of you guys again, too.
Sure.
So you can see
so that allows you to move things around and reposition things to be a little bit more clear.
Yeah, and so if you look again at the one I did for today, like you can see the whole center of the flower. So I think that looks really beautiful. You don't have to do that. I've done them where, again, I told you my first one, when I look back at the picture, it was from like book club a couple of years ago. I mean, it was like, and I was like, this is amazing. And that's when I started making them. And it was like, so like I look back at it and I'm like, oh my gosh, that looks terrible to me now. But there is no wrong way because they're flowers and they look so pretty. And it doesn't take a lot of effort, but to me, it has such a huge impact when it's sitting on the table. And what bottle of wine doesn't look better inside of a bucket with flowers, right? So,
girl, everything's going to look better inside a bucket of iced flowers. Everything is.
So, okay, I have a question. In your ice bucket that you just showed us, the big yellow flower, is that a rose?
That is a rose. Yeah,
okay.
It's a rose with the center exposed.
Because when you first showed us, I was like, is that a peony? Because it makes the flower look so big.
Right. Yeah. I love doing peonies, by the way. I love so much. They're like, so I live in Arizona. I can't grow peonies no matter what. Like, I've tried everything. They don't like it here. So when Trader Joe's has them, I'm like, like my freezer is filled with just like 4 peony buckets. My husband has these frozen beer mugs. He's getting really annoyed because like I keep taking just like putting more flower buckets in there. He's like, can't we get you a freezer? I'm like, we don't need an extra freezer. Just take your mug. Okay. So anyway, I
have to take the time to say hello, Kristy. You're not going to believe this. We have people from all over the world. So, of course, in the United States, we've got Texas, we've got California, we've got Arizona, but we also have people here from Peru, Ontario, New Mexico, Texas, Iowa. Wow. Lots of people are so interested in this today.
Awesome. Well, hello, everybody. Ice buckets around the world. I like it.
Yeah, right.
I like that. So do you ever mix your fruit with your flowers, or do you keep fruit separate in one and flowers separate in the other?
No, I mix them a lot. And so I do, seasonal themes or theme things. So whatever is in season, I put in. I've truly frozen just about everything. And I love fruit. One of my favorite ice buckets was at Halloween. And I took one of those little torches that you can brulee food with, those little teeny torches. And I kind of blackened the oranges around there so they look kind of burned and spooky, and then just stuck those in. And oh my God, I thought it looked so cool. And oranges are easy because you can just slice them. So if anyone wants to do oranges or lemons, lemons are really pretty too. Those, just look at your depth and slice them to the depth. So just don't do skinny like water slices, right? Because those are just going to float up like the size you put in your tea or your water. You just, again, cut them to the thickness and they will slide right in, and they look so cool. And it, I mean, that's great if lemonade or ice water, like those are really pretty ones to do as well. So, okay.
Question. So if I was to make a thicker floral bucket, would I need to leave the stems longer and that would be enough? I mean,
so you can, it's going to be preference. I feel like the stems sometimes don't look pretty and full, but so if you like the way that looks and it has a minimal look, if I did a thicker bucket, I would leave that thicker stem behind. Remember when we started, I showed you leave your stem so you have something to slide between the inner surface and down below. I would just leave it thicker and then have more flowers. Like you're going to have, a little bit higher to do it. You could leave the stems on, but I kind of like the green just directly behind the flower. Okay, I don't want us to run out of time, so I'm totally time for questions. I just want to make sure that we talk about how to remove it, so because I think that's an important tip. So you're going to stick this in the freezer. Again, it's the size of an ice cream bucket if you only have one. It's going to fit just fine. And then, I find they freeze in about 8 hours probably. And so when you take it out, this is the most important thing. You're so excited to see it. So sometimes people start running water over it to get it out. They want to look at it. And that's what makes ice crack. Same thing as when you put it in your drink, right? And you put something lukewarm in, you hear the ice crackle. You have to let it slowly melt to kind of come to room temperature. And then you'll start seeing kind of water as you look on the top, like it's melting a little bit, and your center will slide out. You flip your container over and you pull it out. But if you run it underwater and get impatient, it will crack. So that is probably the most important tip. Is just let it come to room temperature, let it slowly melt a little, and it will slide right out. So I think,
can we put it back in the freezer after we take it out?
So you mean after you've used it, can you put it back?
No, I mean, if we put it out of the buckets but then decide, okay, I just took it out of the bucket to see if it was pretty or whatever. Can I put it back in the freezer?
You can, but I actually like to put them back in the container when I do that, because if any of your flower has started to slowly expose, like I was showing you the rose, maybe there's a couple pieces, when you refreeze them, they change. Like it's weird. Like the first time it's frozen and it slowly defrosts, it kind of remains the same. But then when you freeze it again, it's like because the flower and the petal's been kind of damaged by the freezing process, it starts to look weird. So you can do that, but first of all, I probably wouldn't, but I have. And if I did, when I learned to put it back in the mold so it wasn't getting ice damage all around. If you're putting it back in the container, it's not getting that direct frost again on the exposed part of the bucket.
So. Okay. I'm curious, Kristy, do you get asked to do this for other people, and do you cater? Like, is this something that people could hire you for, or no?
So can't hire me for, it's just to me kind of labor intensive for the return, and I'd be like driving all over Phoenix with ice buckets or trying to ship ice, and I feel like I inspire people to make them. I do them for my friends all the time. So I mean I will do one for free for people all the time. When people around me, it's like, okay, I will show you, I will help you do that. Like we can get on the phone and I'll show you how to do it, because it's so simple. I mean, I don't know that anyone needs to pay me to do this. Like you saw it, like we did this in a few it really, I think the challenge might be your freezer space. And as I told you, I don't really have it either.
Right.
So,
This is so incredible. People are so happy, leaving a lot of comments. And someone just asked, we didn't see it since the beginning. Can we watch it later? Yes, everyone, you can. You go to bloomtvnetwork.com, and then you will see Flowers and Friends link right there. Right, Kara? It's up there on the screen, and you click there and you can watch all of our 17 episodes. There it is.
There it is.
And the 17 episodes we've done are there. So please do.
Yes.
So Kristy, we have a surprise for you, because when we went onto your Instagram, we all got a little excited about all the deliciousness, but it really took me back and really inspired all of us to want to make something inspired by you. And so collectively, we went to the grocery store and we gathered up everything we needed for our own orange Julius.
Oh, I love it. They're so good.
I don't know if mine's that good, but I had so much fun. And I laid out things, and I was like, I'm going to be like Kristy. And I just wanted you to know that together we did this in honor of you today, and we made orange Julius.
And thank you so much, because it did bring up a lot of childhood memories. This was like my favorite drink, and I tasted it, and it was like, oh my God, they do taste like orange Julius. Thank you so much.
Oh,
so
I'm so glad.
You mentioned in your Instagram post that when you were in 7th grade, this was just something you and your girlfriend made. So it's almost like it was a pre-vision of something that was coming in your future, right?
Right? Who knew that home ec teacher would have such an impact on our life?
Will you show us that finished ice bucket? And then Anna, I would love for you to tell us about, I think you have some plans of making one coming up in the very near future, right?
So we'll go back here again.
Look at that. Yes, I do. But oh my God, now I'm so inspired. That is so amazing.
Yes.
So you have a rose. Did I see a zinnia?
Yeah, a rose and a zinnia, because I do have zinnia actually growing right now.
Okay.
And I think my favorite to do in here is a peony. If as a florist you can get your hand on a peony, Anna, they are just so stunning, and they get magnified, just like water magnifies anything. They're showstoppers, and you usually just put 2 peonies, and they're so large, that's all you would fit in there. So if you have florist connections to getting peonies right now, I would highly recommend those.
Oh, wow.
Thank you so much. I love watching this. Anna, what is coming? You have to tell us about all the good things coming up, and
yeah,
y'all want to hear a little bit.
Someone just mentioned here, my daughter's wedding is in Phoenix in September. Will now be more festive. Thank you for such a beautiful idea. Yes, it will look much better with this. And I want to thank you, Kristy, because I have a premiere of a pilot show that I made for Bloom TV. And it's going to be premiering, yes, next Sunday, well, the 28th, not this Sunday, in 10 days. And I'm so excited. And I'm hosting a watch party here at my house with close friends and families. So I was eager to learn how to make this because, of course, we're going to be serving champagne to toast about this. And I want to do it just like that. So I'm going to do my first one this weekend to see how it goes, because I've learned I need to practice. And but I'm so excited to do this. I mean, really, really, thank you so much. This has been amazing. I'm going to do first one, test it out, send you pictures, ask you questions if I have any questions.
Yeah.
But then I plan on doing like 4.
I'm going to do one too. Like, I really am going to plan on having one Friday, Kristy. It's going to be like inspired by, and I'm really going to try to bring it on Friday if I can make that happen. On it, because you grew up in Mexico, and I know your childhood, did a summertime treat what was the most popular summertime treat, or what was your favorite when you were growing up?
The thing, I grew up in a border city with San Diego and Tijuana. We're like sisters, or so Orange Julius was really a big thing for me. I mean, of course, paletas, popsicles and fresh fruit paletas are a huge thing in Mexico, but the Orange Julius has always been one of my favorite treats for me and my sisters. Really.
Well, that's good to know, because I had never actually made one myself, but I remember, like, when Kristy said 7th grade, I went right back into fashion gal at the mall at Crossroads in Oklahoma City. And I was like 579. That was another store. Learners. Does anybody remember Learners? Okay. No Learners. Okay. Well, that was the store that was local. And across from that was the Orange Julius shop. And I've always been kind of a chocolate girl. And so if there was the option to eat something that was sweet, I'm going to chocolate. I'm still that way. But the Orange Julius was a little bit different because it had extra things inside. And when I went to make mine today, Kristy, I know that the recipe calls for milk, but I am a vegetarian and I try not to eat too much dairy. Do you my substitution was almond milk, and I'm curious if you for sweeteners, do you have any suggested sweetener changes for sugar or for milk or anything like that? Because I'm betting I could have made this better and it would have tasted better if I hadn't have made in my substitutions.
So I'm always like trying, I think we all are. First, it's nutrition. Otherwise, it's like excess calories. And the thing, this original recipe, and I even wrote that in the caption, like, do not yell at me for the amount of sugar in this recipe. Like, this is the original orange recipe that I got in home ec in 7th grade. And I think it's like half a cup of sugar. I mean, it's a lot of sugar. So yes, you could do honey, you could do agave. I mean, I think you can substitute with any type. If you do coconut milk, almond milk, it's going to slightly change the flavor. I just wanted to kind of go back to, as you were saying, I wanted to go back to middle school and like stroll in the mall with my best friend, and that's what it tasted like.
Exactly.
I think the orange juice is tangy, so I think if you put any sweet, and I think you could do less sweet, for sure, than the original recipe calls for. So you could cut that in half and then, use a different substitute.
Okay. Well, I'm pretty happy with it. Like I said, it's pretty happy, but I thought the almond milk was probably good. Next time, I think I'll try coconut. And I missed a key component in my recipe, and I'm going to call myself out on this right now. I read it. I sent it to the girls. I was so excited about it, but you know what I didn't do? I didn't get the can of concentrate. I just got a jar of orange juice, and I was like, I've got it. And when Kara said something this morning, I went, I can't even read a recipe right.
Because it's more concentrated. Yeah.
And actually, that's more sugar too. So you think about, it is really sweet. That's why we all loved it in the mall in 7th grade,
I'm sure your taste delicious, Dion. But if you want to go back in memory lane, Kristy's recipe is perfect. I mean, it is exactly the taste we had while growing up.
Yeah.
It's just not a health smoothie. You just got to look at it as having a shake.
It's a feel-good.
Don't think of it like a smoothie.
Yeah. And you know what, Kara, you have 4 children, and I bet you guys have a family favorite that you eat in the summertime or drink. Do you have something that's a family favorite?
Well, summertime, my kids love to make chocolate and peanut butter smoothies. Like,
Okay, I love them. They are my
that's a
people.
favorite to do.
Yeah, they're my people.
Oh, love it. I had a question for Kristy though. Like, as we're wrapping up here, like I have big gardens. I've got dahlias in bloom right now. I wanted to show you. I've got roses and dahlias
Beautiful.
in
Ooh,
bloom.
wow.
And I would love to know, I want to make a floral ice bucket that's for the fall and for the winter. Can you give me some like kind of key fall and winter ingredients that you typically use in those type of floral ice buckets?
Yeah, so I think of the fall colors, right? Like, what's your table going to be look like, and what are you serving? Even though we grow sunflowers in the summer, I know you have a beautiful sunflower field. They actually look really cool with fall stuff, and you see a lot of fall tablescapes. And even though we know they grow in the summer, they are kind of those colors of fall. And then I think you could do the roses, kind of like the ones I did that have those touches of orange. I've done a fall bucket with pomegranate. I told you I froze everything.
Yeah. Okay.
That was cool because it was split open. You saw all the jewels. We don't have time for that. It kind of bled. So there's some things I had to work through on that one. But you can use, fall fruits. I'm kind of like in my mind thinking about doing a gourd. So follow, because I was thinking in October, I've never tried a pumpkin or a gourd frozen. So
that was my thought. Like, how do you do pumpkins with this? I have no idea.
Yeah, right? I think that's going to be my October concept. And I did mushrooms. I found these wild mushrooms in the Flagstaff in northern Arizona, and that was probably my favorite one I've ever done, where all the mushrooms, it was like a fairy tale looking one. I thought it was so cool.
I am so excited to make this next week. I'm going to try different flowers. I'm actually, since I'm planning on doing 4, I'm going to do different flowers. And I want to invite all of our viewers to watch this premiere. It's going to be open to everyone. You can go to bloomtvnetwork.com, and right next you'll see a heading that it says, what does it say? I'm sorry, I got excited. It says watch party. So you click there, you leave your email, and the link to watch the premiere will be sent to you. It's going to be next Sunday, the 28th. It's at 10 a.m. PST, Pacific time. But, well, you can do the math because I don't remember what time it is. And I want to show you a small clip. This premiere episode is about edible flowers, the magic of edible flowers. It's in Spanish, but it will have subtitles in English. Why don't we show them the clip?
Absolutely. Let's see it again.
Me entusiasma grabar este episodio sobre flores comestibles porque muy poca gente sabe que existen. Me interesa saber cómo se cultivan, cuáles flores nos podemos comer. Quiero saber por qué casi no las vemos ni sabemos que existen. Así como por qué cuando nos las sirven en un platillo las hacemos a un lado y no nos las comemos. Pero sobre todo, quiero explorar la magia de una flor en la comida.
She's bringing it. She's bringing it. All of it. Bringing all of it. I love that so much. I can't wait. I've got the date set. I'm going to have my ice bucket ready. I'm going to have my orange Julius. And remember, I collectively, here's the thing. Now that if I ever have a gathering, which I do typically, I have a couple at the house, nothing fancy, but I'll almost be ashamed of myself if I don't do better than I've done before. Because I have no excuses to not prep a little bit better. Do you know what I mean? Like I've got everything I need here. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there that people are commenting, and they have loved today's show so much, Kristy.
Yes,
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much for being here. And thank you so much for watching the show with us today. We just want to remind you to make sure that you are following our Instagram page too. And if you make a floral ice bucket, we would love for you to tag us as well. Our Instagram is flowersandfriends_talk show. You can find us there, and you can find out about our upcoming guest for each Friday. And we also, if you didn't know, we have a giveaway. you each week.
That's right. Let's see who are we giving our giveaway to this week? Do we have our name? Bum, 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 bum. Yes, we do.
And Alexander, you have won the giveaway for this week. Yay. Thank you so much. Please make sure you contact us at Bloom TV so we can get your address, and you will get your yearly subscription.
And paint.
Network.
And
Oh,
paint. I love to ship
paint.
out paint. So make
Yes.
sure you send us an email with your address so I can send you some of my favorite paint for you to try. And those of you that have watched with us and continue to show up 17 weeks later, we are so grateful for you. We could not be here without you. We could not also be here without our lovely sponsors for Bloom TV. I'm going to show you that list now in our beautiful video.
We have built the world's first flower-focused streaming network, bringing the public educational and entertaining shows that highlight the magic of flowers. Learn how to heal through flowers, cook with flowers, design your living space to reflect nature, make crafts using florals, sustainably garden, and so much more. We are your network for all things floral. Join us at Bloom TV as we help bring beauty to the lives of people and the planet through nature's most beautiful creation, the flower.
Be sure to tag Kristy, okay, on Instagram. For those of you that do an ice bucket, I'm going to do one. I'm going to be here Friday with that ice bucket, and I'm going to tag her on my Instagram as well. Anna says yes. Kara, she's going to try maybe.
I promise I'm going to try.
And just one
Too many
last,
kids.
just one last thing before Kristy left, she told us no artificial flowers. She does not recommend doing this with artificial flowers. So only with your fresh flowers that are starting to wilt.
Okay.
And with an orange Julius.
Cheers, everybody. Thank you so much for being here.
Be sure to join us next week. Every Friday, we're here at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Why, Kara? Why should they join us?
Because everything is better with flowers and friends. Thank you guys. Bye.
Have a great weekend. Bye.